Hey, welcome back. We're going to work on the Model 3 again today. Yeslak was cool enough to send over their Yoke steering wheel for the 2024 Model 3 Highland or refresh, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go through installation of that, what that looks like, how to do it. You can follow along with this video as kind of like a tutorial if you need to. And then I'm going to show kind of what it looks like with the original steering wheel and then the yoke installed. And we'll go from there. So let's get into it. All right, unboxing. Super simple packaging. Nice brown box, some foam on top. The wheel itself, really high quality. I was actually pretty surprised. The stitching is nice, it's hefty. Obviously you've got your heated steering cables, so you retain the heated steering, which is cool. Yeah, overall, really pretty impressed with the build quality on this. Obviously for the price, that is what I would expect, but it's nice to get what you pay for. There is tools, I believe, in here. So just a few Allen keys, I think some pins to pop out the airbag. Yeah, really not a whole lot of tools needed. And they also provide a really nice, actually pretty high quality 10 millimeter wrench here to get the steering nut off and on. I'm sure I'll actually use this around my garage a lot more. It's pretty nice. So yeah, let's get this thing installed. So first step, your car, and then go to safety. Scroll all the way to the very bottom and press power off. Then hit power off. Hi. On either side of the steering wheel, there are two small holes. You'll push the smallest Allen key in both holes. It doesn't have to be at the same time, and pull out on the airbag. Once you do both sides, it will pop straight out. You'll see two electrical connectors inside. You're going to take the small black clip from the kit and use it to remove these. It connects directly into the top and bottom of the connectors, and then you'll pull gently on the wires to get the connector to come out. Then you're going to want to remove the main steering nut. This takes a lot of force, so the best way that I found to do it was turn your steering wheel all the way to the left and then put the car in park. That way the wheel isn't going to try and rotate when you put a bunch of force on it. Then once that's loose, it'll come out. Then you can pull the steering wheel straight off the spleens and put it on a table and start taking everything off of it. We're going to start on the back of the steering wheel. Use this middle Allen key and remove the four black bolts in the back here. Then we're going to pry up on this little plastic cover on the back bottom part of the steering wheel. It comes off pretty easily. Then we're going to again use the smallest Allen wrench to take out these three screws, and the silver front fascia piece will fall out. We're going to flip the steering wheel over. We're going to take out these four larger bolts with the biggest Allen key. Then we're going to remove this wire from the clip that it's secured by. And then we're going to remove the black bolt holding down the ground terminal here. It's that little silver ring. You'll pry out the heated steering connectors from either side. I just used the small Allen key. Then you'll have to detach these connectors. They can be really tricky. I actually had to use pliers, so be very careful when you're disconnecting these. You don't want to break those fragile wires there. Then you'll remove these two small silver screws. Once those are removed, we're going to be able to flip our steering wheel over and use the small screwdriver to pry up the black plastic cover on the back and remove the whole back panel. Now that the back panel is removed, we're going to keep the steering wheel flipped, and we're going to remove both of the brackets from the back of the buttons and the scroll wheels. There's just 3 silver screws holding them in. With those brackets removed, we can actually take our OEM steering wheel and set it aside and grab our yoke. Make sure you tuck the heating wires behind the steering wheel frame, and then drop the rest of the electronics through the center of the yoke, and then you can mount the buttons themselves. We're going to put those brackets on just the way that they came off, with those 3 silver screws on either side. You can flip the steering wheel over and reinstall the bottom half of the rear shell with 2 black screws. At this point, you can panic because your buttons don't click, but I promise you they will click once they get power. Then you're going to reconnect your heating elements just on either side. Just be careful to tuck the wires away up into the corners if you can. Then we'll reinstall the top half. It's going to have 2 pegs that you need to line up with this hole in the steering wheel. Ask me how I know, because they can definitely get bent. So make sure that's lined up correctly and it'll click into place. On the inside, between the 2 halves of the back shell, there's 2 plastic hooks that you need to make sure connect. So check for that as well. Then you can reinstall the 2 remaining screws for the back shell. I didn't film it, but you would need to also install the 4 big silver screws that hold down that spring plate. Make sure you screw them all the way down, or else you won't be able to take off your airbag later. Coming down to the end here, we're going to reinstall that front fascia piece before we click in that black plastic cover on the back. And just like that, you're pretty much done. Now just make sure you installed everything correctly, and then it's time to take it to the car and install it back into the vehicle. You might have to use some force to push the yoke onto the steering stem. There's only one way it can go. You'll see the notches in both the steering stem and the steering wheel spleens, so you can't really mess this up unless you have it completely upside down. Then you'll tighten that steering wheel nut. Make sure you get it nice and tight. You don't want that coming off while you're driving, obviously. Then reconnect that red connector on the left. Make sure all your buttons light up and that they work correctly. And finally, you're going to plug in that yellow connector for the airbag, push the airbag in, and give it a nice hard push. It's going to honk your horn as soon as it clicks in, so just give it a nice hard push and click it in once. And congratulations, there you have it. You've just installed a Yoke steering wheel on your Model 3. Now let's see how it looks.